Welcome to the Awakened Healer podcast. I'm your host, Mary Beth Vanderlinden. I'm an ordained Christian minister, international intuitive healer, healer trainer, speaker, and retreat facilitator. On the Awakened Healer podcast, myself and a wide variety of fascinating guests will share our gifts and divine experiences. I won't shy away from diving deep and asking big questions during these conversations. In turn, we will open up and share our deepest thoughts on spirituality, angels, intuitive development, crystals, healing of all kinds, and how bridging ancient wisdom with modern science can bring you to a deep and profound healing in every area of your life. Welcome to another episode of Awakened Healer. Today, Spirits really led me to talk to you about what I call spiritual downloads, or prophecy is another term that often you'll hear people use. It's a topic I get asked about often. People will ask me over and over, different questions about it. How does that happen? When does it happen? What kind of information do you get? So I just really wanted to break it down and talk to you about it a bit. A download can come in many different forms and for different reasons. It can be to give you guidance for yourself. It can give you a next step, an idea. It's a spiritual influx of knowledge, nothing you'd know on your own, yet it really feels familiar. It resonates with you because it's something in your blueprint, if it's regarding you. So it's something deep within you, you know this is truth when you hear it. And it's a higher light frequency, awareness, or the receiving of consciousness updates to the programs within your mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual operating system. The term download really is a metaphor for this phenomenon. And because receiving influxes of light and conceptual awareness in this way really operates in a very similar manner as to how you would download a program to your computer. I'm really untechnical, but let's just look at that for a moment, like what that means or what that would look like. So say your computer is running on a certain operating system. That operating system manages your computer's memory, processes, and all of its software and hardware programs. But things are always changing, being upgraded, or so they say. I know I often wish I could go back to the old version or the way things were when they were simple and actually worked. Sometimes the updates, I'm like, why did they do this? So if you're feeling the same way, you may feel that when you get a download too. But we're constantly getting notices that they want you to do an update. These updates are meant to improve the overall experience of using your computer. When you successfully upgrade your operating system, then your computer will run differently in a new way. Maybe it runs faster. Maybe it has security measures to keep your data safe. But no matter the specifics, in one way or another, it's supposed to be an upgrade, okay? I say supposed to be because computers are different than getting divine downloads. They're coming from humans. So you may have heard of the latest app. And so all of a sudden, I want to download that, to my computer. The computer's receiving new information that allows it to perform new tasks, to access new information, or allows you to create new possibilities using your same existing computer, okay? And so the same process is essentially true with you in the physical. You're able to download higher light, divine consciousness, soul awareness, and healing frequency in order to upgrade your own operating system of beliefs, wisdom, knowledge, so you can access new programs and new possibilities, such as maybe healing abilities or new psychic senses or new levels of awareness may come in with that download. Energy downloads can come from a variety of sources. You may download light frequency and information from your soul, from your team of guides and angels, directly from God or source. So there are a number of different sources that this information or that the downloads come from. For me, and I've tried to explain this to people, and they kind of look at me like, what's your problem? But it's just, there's really no words, and it's very difficult to explain exactly the way I get the downloads. It's information that just comes pouring in. I feel it coming in through the crown of my head, and it isn't like someone's talking to me. The information comes extremely fast, and it's hard for me to keep up with writing it down. If I'm, if I'm working with a client right then, they're just telling me like what they want done, and I'm just doing it as they're saying it. So that's no problem. But when the information, or if it's information for me, but even for me, a lot of times I want to put it in my journal or write it down. And sometimes it comes in so fast, it's like a flood. I can't even hardly keep up with it. So it's kind of like doing shorthand. You just put little bits of it and try to remember the parts in between. I know exactly what's being said or told to me, but it's so hard to explain, every word of it, and yet it really wasn't audible. But yet it's like somebody speaking to you. So if that makes sense to you, yay. Yeah. They happen the entire time I'm doing a healing session, but that information is to guide me as to what's for the highest good of that client at that time. But I may also get a message or messages that I'm supposed to give to that client. So once I give the message to the person, it's basically not for me. And so it kind of like disappears. And yet if that person brings it up at the next session and say, remember when they said this or they said that, I'm like, oh yeah. So it's kind of like goes into storage because it isn't information for me, and it's really none of my business. But yet if the client wants to talk about it, can be like brought back out. It's in your Akashic records or in your files, and so you can always go back to it if it's needed. But when a download happens, it's like receiving a blast or a surge of light into your being. If you've ever had the experience of feeling like your entire being is on high alert, maybe you're in the house alone and all of a sudden you think like, did I hear somebody in here? And every cell in your body just becomes alert, and it's like you're just tuned into like the entire space, the entire house, like what is going on there? What am I hearing? What am I sensing? What am I feeling? It's kind of like that. You just have this just rush of energy going through your whole being. And when you momentarily link in with that stream of divine source or consciousness to receive in, what for me, again, it feels like a flood coming of divine guidance, insight, realization. An interesting way to look at energy downloads is that they're just bursts of information and flowing in. For me, I should say, they're spirits talking to me all the time. So a lot of times I'll just stop and change gears completely or stop because they're saying, no, say it this way. So flowing in through the crown chakra is the way I receive the information. You could just like feel it in your heart, or just in your gut, just get this knowing. Like my brothers were highway patrols and sheriffs, and they would talk about just knowing that this certain vehicle, there was something suspicious about it or something. And to them, you know, having that gut feeling made sense. But then when I would talk about, you know, oh yeah, divine downloads or something, they're like, what is with her? You know, they didn't get that it's the same thing, but we all receive this information in a different way. So for me, again, it's like, you know, flowing through the crown chakra in through my mind's eye, but you could get it in your mind's eye as a movie playing on the inside of your forehead, your throat. If you're more likely to, like be clairaudient, you may receive messages where you feel almost in your throat as if you're talking, but you know it's somebody else talking, but it's really, again, not audible. Or your heart, and then integrating into your being through your ascension column of light, which is that central channel that comes all the way from the heavens and then down through your crown, through all your chakras, down into the earth. It's just that pillar that unites your chakra centers to the heavens and to the earth. And so, you know, if all of that is flowing properly, and it's easy then to get these influxes or downloads of divine wisdom or divine knowledge when you're grounded, open, centered, present, free of blocked energy. Then you're able to download and upgrade your operating system within the physical, and actually integrate the higher knowledge, frequencies, consciousness that your system, you know, already has downloaded, and then you're able to tune into it. But you may not be consciously and logically aware of it yet. So this is why the monthly clearing and activations are so important. It's like a tune-up for your car. If you want it firing on all cylinders and at peak performance, there's just maintenance that you have to do, whether it's the monthly clearing and activations, whether it's sessions, like one-on-one sessions. But, you know, within you, you'll know what you need. But the energetic downloads you receive are helping to upgrade your operating system. You're downloading insight into programs you're really already running, and tapping into new levels of awareness, new knowledge, higher frequencies, and new abilities that you can then access in order to bring your gifts to the surface, to ascend and to blossom into the divine being in physical form that you came here to be. So this is the why behind why downloads come in, and kind of how, you know, you may receive them. Higher consciousness streaming in from the divine, from your guides to assist you or another. So it's the phenomenon and experience on your ascension path where you're receiving guidance, knowing, frequency upgrades, and activations that serve you in ascending and further progressing on your spiritual path, so you can embody more of the light of the divine and be the divine being that you came here to be. And the next thing would be to touch on what you do once you receive them. Are they for you to act on immediately, to be used for what you're working on or doing at that time? Are they to be stored for future use? Are they part of a puzzle that you've been getting little pieces here and there and here and there, and just kind of storing them up? And you keep trying to put those pieces together to complete the puzzle, so that you know, like, your story, like where you're supposed to go next. Because like a computer program or a course that you download onto your computer, these new spiritual downloads, there often is a process of like a puzzle, putting those pieces or those files together to get the whole picture. I a lot of times have people say, like, I feel like I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know where I'm going. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to take this step, but I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm supposed to end up. Well, instead of being all frustrated about it, enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Like, I mean, I used to throw my kids in the car, put in a cooler with apples and water and bread and peanut butter, and we would just take off on the roads in Colorado. We didn't know where we were going, where we were going to end up. It's like, who cares? It was so beautiful. The experience was so beautiful. And when we didn't have a plan and didn't know where we were going, we would just come across just awesome things. Just, I in 10 months, I put 26,000 miles on a brand new car. Just because it was so beautiful, and we just had all these amazing experiences by just following every dirt road, every tar road, we just wandered off everywhere, and we never would have seen that stuff if we had to know where we were going to end up. We would have missed all of that. And so allow yourself to be curious. You may feel these downloads come in through a tingling sensation, a sudden epiphany, or flashes of inspiration where you see the big picture of what's possible for you, where you see the big vision about what you are really here to do as a divine being. But often, like I'm saying, you just receive one step at a time, or maybe even what you feel is like the most minute baby step. But be aware, be a detective, be putting all these pieces together. Even when you've received the most incredible download, there's likely going to be a gap between this new information and the time that's right to process it. I know it can be frustrating, but you just have to know with everything in you that God's got your back. God's always working for your highest good, or the highest good of your clients. I know I have some clients that come in just once and poof, whatever their issue, is or was, is just gone right in that one session. Well, that's what God had in store for them. And that's what they all want, but it's all in God's timing. Some things can unfold over a week, over a month, even years, but it's all in God's timing. So you just have to know that it's always working out for your highest good. It's what you can handle at that time. And so, back to the computer analogy, when you download an update to a program, you often need to delete the existing version of that program running on your machine. Whatever program's running on your machine, that needs to be gone before you can install and access the new one. So to truly access the higher divine guidance you've downloaded, there's almost always a process of clearing out the old that's required. There's almost always the need for you to let go of the old, the outdated. That could look like core beliefs, childhood wounds, past life energies, soul aspects that are missing that need to be brought back so that you're whole again. But you're put in the position where you came, to take in this life, whatever position you came to take in this life. All this work you're doing is in the end going to get you to that point, to your complete blueprint. And so in other words, to access the full extent of the downloads you've already received, you're required to release and let go of previous levels of belief, awareness, and your prior level of consciousness. There are lots of things that can block you from tuning into the full magic and power of the higher light and spiritual guidance that you've downloaded, more things would be things like negativity, dense energy, stagnant emotions, all of those same things that are really continued focus for us all as we progress through ascension. So to truly become more of the divine light being in physical form that you are, to fully reveal that, which already is, there's an essential process of peeling back the layers, letting go of the fear and blockages so that you can access and allow that inner brilliance, that inspiration, really the magnificence of your divine truth to shine through all that you do. So although you may already be downloading incredible insights and inspiration, there's often a limited ability to access that guidance of divine wisdom until you process and integrate your past experiences, challenges, and lessons. We're all here to learn life lessons. And so you may have all this information within you and all these downloads, but if you haven't been willing to let go of things and to really challenge yourself to learn the lessons you came here to learn, then the timing isn't right yet for you to access that. So this is why we always come back to doing the work, to observing your mind, observing your actions, and taking notice of where you're thinking or acting out of alignment with what you really want. So again, be aware. That's my favorite. I'm going to make bumper stickers and put it on the back of every car so everybody just keeps getting reminded, be aware. It really comes down to being impeccable and having integrity in every way, acting, thinking, and feeling in integrity and in alignment with your highest divine truth. Because when you're centered, clear, and present, all that you have downloaded, that infinite light, that light of truth, naturally springs up from within you. It'll just well up from within you when you're ready for it. So in the present moment, you become able to receive the inspirations needed to create value, to do your work in the world, and to make a difference. The reason I keep talking about be aware is when you receive new downloads of higher light and consciousness, the higher frequency, the higher level of awareness, the wisdom you have been given may challenge your present status quo. It might shake you to your very core. You have to be really flexible to follow the divine. I don't know how many times I've had to walk away from like big businesses that I built, or, where I was living, and just, I was, with everything in me, I knew I was being sent to a new area where I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what kind of work I was going to do when I got there, but you have to have faith that this is where I'm being guided. And so everything's going to be all right. So downloads in and of themselves are sometimes perceived as the cause and source of physical ascension symptoms. I want to make the distinction now because I think it's important. Higher light, incredible divine frequency, and downloads of spiritual energy, that is not what causes physical ascension symptoms. Downloads of light and frequency are blessings in every way. But what does cause the system is the friction and the dissonance between higher light you're tuning into and the older programs and energy you're holding on to. So that obsolete energy blocks the new from having room to integrate. And just like on your computer, you may have lights flashing that are saying like, warning, warning, warning. Our physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual bodies can react that same way when the obsolete needs to be cleared out for the new to have room. You may experience this in many different ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritual pain or issues. but it's because you're needing things cleared out to make room for the new. And so when you effortlessly let go of old programs, beliefs, and your old level of consciousness, there are no symptoms. Often we need assistance with the letting go part. And that's where the energy healing comes in, soul retrievals, past life regression, clearings and activations. You know, spirit will guide me if I'm the one doing, the work with you, as to what is for your highest good, you know, but you want to make sure whoever you go to or whoever you seek assistance from, that they are spirit led. You don't want somebody coming from ego and then messing with your energy, because it's going to be coming from their perception and their beliefs. And that's why it's so important to just step aside and let spirit guide you in everything you do during a session. So that effortlessly letting go of the old is not actually effortless. It does take commitment, focus, and willingness, but it is life changing and such a blessing in the end once you've actually done the work. So this is kind of getting off track, but I remember at 12 years old, and that's a whole long story, but I'm only going to bring up one aspect of it. I'll save the story for another time. But at the end of what happened, I was so overwhelmed with the presence of God. And I remember saying and just sobbing, I want to be your hands. I want to be your feet. I want to go where you send me. Even to this day, and I just turned 63, I can hardly say it without going back to that just anointing coming over me, and that I can hardly keep from crying. It was just so overwhelming, the presence of God. But today there's a song like that. I could have been a millionaire. I should have just put those words to music back then. But seriously, it hasn't been easy. Even though with everything in me, I committed to just do whatever I was being asked to do. I've gone through many rough roads, but I always stayed true to following whatever spirit asked me to do. And I have been so blessed and a blessing to others because of it. So don't give up. Keep moving forward. It's so worth it. And this is something that I'd kind of like to leave you with. Affirmations or intentions are a great way to support yourself on your path of embodiment in becoming that divine being that you authentically are. They really help you to stand firm in what you want in your life. And so any affirmation that really you'll feel it just resonate within your entire being, if it's the one for you. So you want to come up with your own, or if you see one that just really moves you, you write it down. But these are a few. I'm willing to embody the highest divine consciousness available to me now. Another one would be, I am willing to let go of the old to allow my highest divine consciousness to emerge. I now embody the highest divine consciousness that is for my highest good. When you're aligned with that, when you're tuned in to the perspective of the observer, you're able to integrate the lessons and receive the blessings of the downloads of light available to you. When you consciously choose to step back and observe yourself in the physical, you're naturally open to receive those influxes of light, the downloads of consciousness in the higher awareness. Again, I encourage everyone to have a journal. Write down the downloads that you receive. Every morning when you wake up, write down what you received in your dream state before you forget. So always have your journal and a pen next to the bed. So immediately, if in the middle of the night you wake up because you've had a dream or, some kind of information, write it down, or in the morning, write it down. Even 2 minutes later, you'll think like, oh, I'll remember, I'm just going to go do such and I'm going to go turn on, the radio or whatever. And poof, it's gone. So write it down right away. Each night before you go to bed, ask a question, but expect an answer. When you receive downloads, ask questions. You can question spirit. You can ask questions if you're like, well, what did that mean? Or, am I supposed to do that now? Or is that something I'm supposed to do later? Ask. Get the answers that you need. You can ask, what guidance is available to me now? Or how has this download shifted my energy or restructured my awareness? What changes am I being guided to make in my life? These are just some good questions to ask before you meditate too. Then after the meditation, journal right away in your dreams and during meditation. Those are two of the most powerful times that you will get those downloads or information. You can get them at any time, but expect them at those times. And then again, journal it, write it down while you still have awareness of exactly what it was. What is the wisdom you received revealing to you? Write that down. With awareness and presence, you're able to tune into the specific facets or aspects of that download, which you can then use to improve your life situation, to manifest your dreams and goals, to take quantum leaps forward on your ascension path. So yes, downloads are real things, and yes, they're probably already happening to you. You just want to be aware. Even if you feel all of a sudden a tingling sensation in your body, stop whatever you're doing just for a moment and like, what was that? What is that? What's going on? Get curious. The more you're able to stay centered, present, and aware, observing yourself and being mindful in each and every moment, the more you'll be able to notice when you do receive a download. Remember that higher light will likely shine a light on old issues, so it's not always comfortable getting the downloads. Outdated programs and distortions running within your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual field will be brought up for you to deal with. When you become aware of these things, learn from them, heal them, release them. When you get these downloads, they're going to, you already have the wisdom within you. Like a lot of times you get a download and you're like, oh, I knew it. It's like verification. Oftentimes they're verification of something you've been feeling or knowing or getting nudges on. So be aware. The key is to do the work. Do the emotional healing, the physical, the mental, the spiritual healing. Do the clearing. Make time for meditation. Take time for silence and time to be alone. Feel your oneness with the earth, with source, with all that is, and become aware of the guidance available to you. In any given moment, you're guided. With presence and awareness, you can tune into that guidance and really use it to ascend, to evolve, to grow. So be willing to clear out the old, outdated programs and beliefs so you can step into alignment with more divine light, love, and wisdom and become who you authentically came here to be. So that's my answers about the downloads. So for all of you that have been writing to me and asking all kinds of questions about the downloads, I hope I answered your questions. If not, I would love to hear from you. Just, leave a comment, and we'll see them, and then we can either answer them on another show or get back to you. Okay? And so have a blessed day. Thank you so much for joining me, sending love and light out to all of you, and be well until we meet again. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on the Awakened Healer podcast. Did you enjoy the show? If yes, please subscribe and give me 5 on a review, that is, on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a review or your comments and let me know what you loved or would love to learn about on future shows. We all need encouragement, including me. Find out more information on my website at spiritledhealinginstitute.com. Be blessed, and remember, if you're good with you and good with God, you're good.